Hello my friends, it's Caddy. I'm sharing my 89th process video titled Summer Fun, number 16 of the layouts I created with this kit for my Work It Wednesday challenge. And now I did pass my goal. I had a goal of 15 layouts and I'm up to 16. So I'm very excited to have completed my layout and passed my goal. So I am going to basically be using a lot of scraps on this layout. When I create a kit and I'm working with it, I don't like to throw all my scraps away. I keep everything and then I go back and I try to use it at the end. And obviously if there's something I can't use, I'll just either I'll put it in my scrap bin if it's a big piece, or I'll just throw it away. So what I'm doing is that hexagon paper, which is like a peach color, I began by just trimming that down. You saw I don't have much left of that. And then I'm taking these strips of the pink polka dot, and then I'm going to use the back side, which was, it had some letters, some big, like, look like stitched letters. I'm going to use that back side. So basically I'm just kind of using strips and just kind of creating it's a very simple layout, so it's nothing too complicated, but I really like how it turned out in the end. Just trimming down that piece to make it a little bit thinner to kind of match the one on the other side. It's not the same exact size, but just kind of make it match a little bit better. And then I'm placing the other piece there, and then I'm not really centering them. I'm just kind of just placing them there however they fall. So so my photo is pretty dark, even though it's a daytime photo and it is outside. It is pretty dark, so I'm just matting it with that script paper. And then on the back I added a piece of peach paper that I had just in my scraps. Now I'm going to take this paper, this is from the 6x6 paper pad, and I really want that part where the bright colors are, that bright pink and bright yellow. So I just cut it in half and then used one half at the top, one half at the bottom. And then this polka dot paper, which I've had as well, which I had cut it up, so it was just sitting there in my little scraps. So I used that. And then I find this one, which I believe I cut in half, yeah, so that I can use one half at the top, one half at the bottom. And like I said, literally I'm just down to scraps, so I'm just trying to figure out what to use. And then that piece, I love that paper. It's like a cork colored paper, but I just cut down strips and then I'm going to use them there where you see, just to kind of separate the two papers. And yeah, basically just building some layers, just some very simple layers with this. Again, nothing too complicated, nothing too crazy, just some simple layers. And I'm taking this flourish paper. Now I decide to use those two pieces there, and the rest I'm gonna throw away because I said that's it. I don't want any more pieces of this flourish paper in any of my layouts. I'm done with it. I'm gonna use these two pieces and that's it. I thought about using that teal paper, but I don't end up using that. It just stood out a bit too much, and then I only have that one piece, so just adding another piece of like an off-white paper that I had, and then I'm going to stick down my little flourish pieces to my layout. And I really like the flourish pieces. I think they add a lot of interest to the layout, but I'm done with it. I'm so done with it. So yeah, I'm just going through my scraps, and then everything that I'm not using, I'm just putting it back in there in my little 6x6 paper pad. And then I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I can possibly work in, but I don't think I end up using anything else as far as paper goes. So I'm happy with how this looks. I'm happy with how my layers look. So I'm going to adhere it. I thought about flipping it over, but I like the two little clusters of papers kind of on the sides. And then I have this little acetate frame, which was from the Basic Gray Frames pack, which I thought I was done with that pack, and then I realized I had this one little piece. So at first I placed them in the middle there, but then later I will, well, not later, right immediately after I stick them down, I realized that I want them in a different spot. So I'm just going to move that one up there and then the other one to the bottom. and I like that a whole lot better. And you could, I could have put them like where the flourishes are, kind of to emphasize on those two areas, but I like just this and emphasizing on the other corners. And then this is cork. This is that cork paper or cork sheet that I had in my kit, which has the little tiny triangles. And I just used my scallop punch to punch out 2 circles. I had punched this out before, I think for my last layout, but I didn't end up using it. So I take those 2, and I decide to take some of these little tiny word stickers, which are from Tim Holtz, and I'm going to tell you what I write out. Let me grab my layout. Okay, so on the top one, I end up writing out discover the adventure, and then at the bottom one, it says of everyday life. So I thought that was really just a cute little kind of saying. And this is a picture. I don't think I've talked about my picture. It's a picture of my 2 boys. And sorry, just putting my layout back. And a friend of theirs at a birthday party. And this was probably like 2-3 years ago. And I hadn't scrapped this photo. So it's just them, and they're just hanging out. It's at this really pretty park that we have here in Miami. And they have a little kids water area, so they had a lot of fun. That's why they're wearing their bathing suits, and they just had a lot of fun that day, so wanted to scrapbook that. And then what I did with these little clusters, I cut a bigger circle in that same paper with a circle punch, and then in between I placed a circle from one of the little I don't know if you guys have seen my last videos, but one of the papers which was all circles, I cut out 2, and then I used one of the peach ones and a teal one. I thought about using those stars, but I will remove the stars. I don't know, I just didn't like them on the layout, so I do remove them, and I leave the little hearts. So yeah, this was fairly simple. It wasn't too complicated. Then I take these enamel dots, which I have, and I'm gonna use a blue one, a yellow one, and a pink one. Even though the pinks in the center area and the center clusters are a bit lighter, the pink in the paper on the sides is like a hot pink. Even though it's kind of muted, but it is a hot pink. That's why I use the pink little dot. So just adding some glue. And just adding 2 little clusters of little enamel dots. And that's when I decided to remove my stars. And I did add little cork hearts on the top and the bottom. And then I'm going to place a little enamel dot right in the middle. And then the bottom heart, I do end up moving up a little bit just because I had removed it. I thought about maybe placing it closer to my enamel dots, but I end up just leaving it there just a little bit higher. So I pull out these Heidi Swapp mistable thickers, and I'm gonna stop and come back. I had already looked for my letters, and what I had to do was that S is not an S, it's a $sign. So I made it into an S. The M's are actually W's, and the R is actually a B, which I just cut off a little piece at the bottom because I didn't have a lot of the letters I needed left over. So I had to get creative. So what I'm doing is I'm dipping them. These are mistable, so you can mist them with your color shine, and then they grab the color in kind of a diagonal pattern. So it has like a resist technique on it in a diagonal pattern. So what I did was first I dipped them in gelato. I just colored on my mat with my yellow gelato, and I sprayed some water on it, and then I dipped them on that, and then that gave them that really bright color. And then I'm gonna dip them in the Color Shine by Heidi Swapp in butter, and then that's gonna give them a little bit of shimmer. So the gelato was just to give it a little bit of a brighter color, and then the Color Shine is to give it some shimmer. And then I take that same Color Shine in butter and just do some splatters, and that is it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned, there might be another video in my series. Thank you again for watching. I hope you guys are having a great Thanksgiving, and take care. I'll see you guys very soon. Bye bye.